Zach the Basement popping as always, and you and I have been looking forward to this episode for a while. This is something that we think is really important.
We knew that we needed to reach out to a different voice, considering everything that what's been going on. We've talked to coaches and teachers, but there's one demographic that we were kind of leaving out for a while.
Well, and Zach, with the Mac Attack, we created this to highlight the performance, the ability, the talent across Macomb County when it comes to football. And you and I realized that we haven't really talked to anybody that's actually among that talent in quite a while.
You talking about the players?
I am.
Okay.
I am talking about the players. And, Zach, this is for the coaches. And we've talked to a lot of coaches, and you can hear the frustration, the inability to plan, the sense of missing normalcy, things that they're used to being able to do, things that they can't do anymore. Chippewa Valley head coach Scott Merchant told me that in March he would usually have everything in the season planned, whether it was eating, traveling, any of that stuff would have been all locked down. And now he tells me he does a weekly status report. I mean, that to me is like, you should hear the wee music behind you. I mean, that's got to be terrifying. I mean, that's his job. I mean, and he's a teacher too. So that same thing applies where, if you're like, all right, I'm a football coach, there's uncertainty. Oh, let's turn to my job for more certainty. It's like, guess what? No.
Yeah. And we're talking about student athletes right now. For the majority of the student body, they're already wondering what learning is going to look like in the fall. Yeah. And now you throw the competitive nature that is Macomb County football on top of all that. What the heck is going through their heads? Because, I mean, these are young men and young women who are going to be playing, hopefully, this fall. And
I'm glad you said that because, we talk so much about football here at the Mac Attack, but you can lump in, among others, the girls in volleyball. They're in the same exact boat as the boys are. The only catch is that pad rule does not come into play in volleyball, obviously. But that's the thing, Zach. These kids have been asked to do so much, and you're like, what are you talking about? They've been sitting at home. Dude, asking a high school kid to sit at home, I mean, dude, you might as well cement boots into the river. I'm serious. Like, I remember, I don't know if the term FOMO had been coined when I was in high school, but I can still feel that in the pit of my stomach. Like, all your friends are doing something awesome and you are doing nothing.
Well, on the plus side for that, there is no missing out because there's nothing to miss out on right now. Nobody's doing anything.
I know, but I'm just saying, asking them to stay home and to be away. And Zach, how many of these kids on these football teams were on baseball teams that just like that? I mean, the rug gone. And if this season doesn't pop for them as a senior, you'd have lost your junior baseball year, your senior football year, and then that puts your spring baseball season in doubt. I mean, do you lose half your high school athletic career in a blink? I mean, so we've talked to coaches, and Zach, I think from the adult perspective, the overwhelming thought is that kids are super resilient. And I believe that. I know that is true. We know kids are resilient, far more so than adults. They're more willing to change, to flex, to welcome new ideas. We don't give kids enough credit for being able to go with the flow, as my dad would say.
Sure. And for you and I, we can't put ourselves in their shoes.
No.
It's just not possible. So that's why I think this podcast is going to be so important to people who are out there listening, because we're going to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. Let's talk to one of the high school students. Let's figure out what's going through their head, what they think about this whole situation. Are they confident that they're going to have a season? Are they confident that school's going to start? What do they have to say about it?
And are they confident in school starting? And I'm not talking about on time, but everybody's like, send him back. Well, I shouldn't say everybody's like that, but there are a group of people that are like, send him back. There's another group of people that are like, keep him home. And I haven't heard from? What does the kids want? What do they want?
There's too many adults in the room right now.
Yeah, and look, we can't talk to every kid, right? But right now, we're going to hear from a Romeo Bulldog football player, and it's so imperative that throughout all these podcasts through 32 in Maine, this one right here, the Mac Attack, and any other ones that you hear talking about teachers or administrators, listen to this one twice before you listen to any other one once, because I think it's really important that we hear from the kids and we understand what they're going through. Because Zach, look, you and I are, if we don't get sick, and if our our livelihoods are not destroyed by the pandemic, we're going to survive this. It's not likely to scar us because we have more than likely become already who we're going to be. But right now for these children, like they're in this, right in the middle of this metamorphosis, right? Like the cocoon has been built and now it's like somebody's poking it, like a piñata almost.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an ideal situation for anybody right now. And I think, you throw on top of that, I still want to win the MAC Red. You know what I mean? They throw that on top of everything else. They want to. Their goal at the beginning of this is still going to be like we talked about last year. It's a division championship, and then it's a district championship, and then it's a regional championship. Like that's still going to be in the back of their mind on top of all this.
And if you look at the way that the season finished and the way things shake out, and the addition of Grosse Pointe South, like I'm not sure the MAC has been as difficult or as open as it has been in a long time. But Zach, you said it, too many adults in the room. Let's fix that. Joined now in the basement by Romeo Bulldog two-way player Ty Messner. Ty, how are you this morning?
I'm good. How about you?
Hey, we're doing great. Much better now that we've got you on the phone. And, this has been a really weird time over the last 6-8 months for everybody. I'm just curious for you, a high school student, what it has been like, going all the way back to March and just what you and your friends, your classmates, your teammates, what you all have gone through, up until this point. I mean, there's been not a lot of clarity. It's been very confusing. Things have changed really quickly. I wonder how you guys have handled that.
Yeah, it was kind of hard at the start, especially like not going to school and all the online classes. And then once football started, with every practice going too, it's hard to not to go by each other, to just stay away. Which we got we've learned it pretty well. We all got organized, but the whole season our coaches always told us we can't really control what the outcome of our season, if we're going to have one or not. So we just have to focus on, he always says, we have to focus on our effort and attitude. And that's what I've been focusing on a lot because I can't control whether or not what the season's going to be like. So we've just been working hard, trying to become closer as a team and just focusing on things we can control.
That season is rapidly approaching here, Ty. Do you guys feel like the fact that, pads got pushed back for practice, do you feel like those kind of things hindered your ability to be prepared for week 1 or what will now become week 2, essentially, if it gets delayed?
No, I don't think it will affect us that much because I know our team, we're well conditioned from these workouts that we've been having. And I know we all have quick learners on our team. And I know if we keep everything up, all of us will work hard and just learn as fast as possible, and then everything will just click.
Ty, what do you think about your coaches, the program of which you are a part, your teammates? This is all, like we've said, it's all brand new. I was out at one of your practices a few weeks ago, and the keeping of the distance and the lack of high fives. It's just not. I know that kind of stuff seems really small, the high fiving, but I wonder how y'all have dealt with those little tiny things that are different, and how you form more or less new habits, right? Like instead of being in the habit of hugging, high-fiving, chest bumping, you have to be in the habit of just kind of staying still or not getting close to somebody. I wonder how you guys have handled that.
Yeah, it's hard because we always try to focus on our brothership and the juniors coming up to varsity this year. We're trying to get closer to them, but it's kind of hard because you can't cheer them on, you can't really do anything, but it affects us. But we all know that, especially with our coaches can't come up to us and talk, show, really move you to the right spot. It's kind of like a learning curve. But I've learned that, no matter what, just from out these workouts, touching each other or without giving high fives or anything, we've all become closer, even with the coaches. So I think we've been pretty good. So yeah. I think it's just a learning curve.
Yeah, and what's the locker room talk like? I mean, when you are with your teammates, when coaches aren't around, when it's just you and the rest of the team there, are you guys speculating on what you think if there's going to be a season? Do you guys ever just kind of sit back and ponder like, well, yeah, guys, we're ready for week 1, but I don't know if it's going to happen.
Yeah, we all try not to focus on it because, like I said in the beginning, our coach always says, Coach Ryan always says, you got to focus on our effort and attitude. So we try not to talk about it because right now we just try to have the mindset that no matter what we're playing, I'm pretty sure all of our coaches have that mindset. So we just keep on going, keep on learning new plays, and we just keep going.
Yeah, and it sounds like MHSAA is pretty much in line with what you're saying right now because they're full speed ahead.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about that? And I know that the message is that you focus on what you can. I wonder how you focus on how your preparation changes. There's been a rumor that week 1 maybe pushed back to week 2. But let's say that doesn't happen. Let's say things start as normal. How do you guys adjust to one less week in pads? Again, we don't know what's going to happen, but Oxford is no easy draw no matter what the situation is. But on a limited basis, how do you guys make sure you get what you need to get in and still be ready? Because, Zach and I were talking about it earlier that with all this stuff that's going on, whether it's school or just in the world at large, like ultimately, I know there are things that are more important, but at the end of the day, in the back of your mind, like you still want to win a MAC championship here. So I wonder how you guys get ready in a different world with the result and the goal being the same. You still want the same thing.
Yeah. If we had the one last week we started like on the original time, it would be pretty hard to get ready for our first game, but I think it would take a lot from our whole team to stay dedicated. And as I even met, like being at home, just studying plays, looking at huddle, watching film, because you can learn a lot from that. And that's the only way we can really get ready is because whatever happens, we have to play. So we have to just stay dedicated, look at our plays, at home study. The coaches, I know the coaches will do a lot of studying, helping us out, and I think it will just get us ready. But it's hard to get ready when we haven't had that much time, but I think we can do it.
Absolutely. And when it comes to school now, we've seen that Romeo is going to be rolling out the option to either, do in-person or online learning. From your standpoint as a student athlete, what's your most desirable situation for starting school in September?
I think I haven't really officially decided, but I really thought about like this year is my senior year. I really want to do good in school, and so part of it is I would want to go to school and everything, even if we had to wear masks, stay away from everyone. But really, I just learned better there, and my grades will just do much better because I need to focus on that. And when I'm at home, online schooling, it helps, but I feel like in person, when a teacher's talking to you and everything, you just do a lot better, and it just gets you ready for your future.
And I think there's a social aspect of it too, right? Similar to your camaraderie with your teammates on the football field. Sure. You have a camaraderie with your fellow student body, and just being around them. I mean, I'm sure you guys are really hoping just to have that normalcy of getting together with your friends again. I mean, that's the exciting part about going back to school. You get to see people that you haven't seen in months, and you guys have been out of it for almost 6 months now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
who will see your new shoes, right? I mean, that kind of stuff. I remember being in high school myself, but
they got Instagram for that now.
Oh, that's right. I didn't have. Sorry, I didn't have that benefit. And Ty, we'll get you out of here on this one. You mentioned going back to school. We talk about your senior year. I just, outside of football, I won't pry too much. I just wonder what this summer has been like for you. I mean, summertime in Michigan, it really is great. And there are still a lot of things you can do, but there are so many things you can't. And I wonder what the quintessential American teenage summer has been like. And, as far as what you've done, what you've thought, and just how you feel.
This whole summer, I basically thought about football. It's kind of hard because you're not really supposed to be going out that much, and so just sitting at home, and that just makes me think about football even more. I feel like since last year, when we we lost in the first round to Davidson. Every junior on that team, including me, has just been like hungry to just keep on playing, to prove that we were supposed to win that game. We're supposed to be the best. And so this summer, I just been thinking about proving that we are the best team in the MAC. We can win states. We can take over the league, but it's hard to do that because we can't really have that many practices. We haven't even had our helmets yet, so I'm just trying to stay just focused on football, and I haven't really done anything. I don't really go out of the house that much, so I'm just ready for football to start, and that's what I'm hoping for.
I think we're all ready for that. I think we're all ready for football to start and get this fall season going.
It really can't come soon enough. Romeo senior quarterback and cornerback Ty Messner joining us on the Mac Attack. Hey, Ty, we really appreciate the open and honest conversation. Good luck going forward. We'll certainly talk to you soon.
No problem. See ya.
Zach, I'm really glad, and I want to thank Ty again for joining us. And I'm not saying that he speaks for every kid in the MAC, but it's really important that we listen to his words. And, again, I can't imagine what this has been like. And, I'm sure that I know every kid deals with it differently, but he's so calm and such thoughtful answers. Like everybody, people always say, oh, these damn kids. And then I go on Facebook and all the trash comments are from adults. And then I hear this, and I'm like, oh my God, the future is awesome.
Yeah. And
the future is awesome. These kids are great.
Well, and you heard as well, he's limited what he's been able to do socially during the summer because he wants to make sure he's healthy for this football season.
Being more responsible than a lot of adults are being right now.
Not only that, he's had football on his mind since the playoff loss in 2019.
Well, and I love that he was like, we should have won that game. And I thought about it, and I'm like, yo, bro.
Davison,
they beat everybody.
They won the state championship.
Yeah, I know.
So, that's confidence right there. And, they're, like we said in the intro, they're looking ahead to MAC championships. They're looking ahead to the playoffs. That's their goals. They're putting those goals in place.
Well, the goals don't change, right?
No, the goals don't change. And and from what Ty said, there's no part of them that thinks that this season's not going to happen because they're not allowing themselves to think any way other than that, which is great for your state of mind.
Yeah.
You don't want that doubt in there.
Yeah, and the MAC, one of the reasons that the programs here at Zach are so successful is the structure of the program and the support that structure provides for the kids and the coaches too, an ability to rely on things that are going to be true. Because again, so much in our lives we can't control, and that's not just if we're talking about football; it's in everyday life. If anything, this pandemic has taught us that there could be something that just shows up and ruins everything, right? Not non-political statement. It shows up and ruins everything.
Yeah,
right?
and regardless of if we see, games being pushed back, a schedule change.
Inevitable, I think, at this point. I don't see how week one goes.
Nobody in the stands. I think
also
regardless
inevitable.
of how things are going to change, I think we're going to see at least a few games get played this season.
So I don't like to speculate a ton, Zach, but
I do on the other hand.
I know. Speculation is fine. It just, you speculate and then it becomes telephone. And then by the time the fourth person hears it, the original speculation has become something completely different.
Sure.
But I've heard rumblings from different coaches that we communicate with, and we talk to more coaches than just in the MAC Red. Those are the ones you hear.
Sure.
But football happens outside of this wonderful bubble in which we live.
And other sports as well.
Correct. And so it seems like the logic right now is that week one will not happen as scheduled. But Zach, I think you and I agreed that was true as soon as they pushed pads back a week, right? I think, to me, if we're guessing what's going to happen, again, I don't like to do this, I wouldn't be surprised if you just ended up playing your conference games.
But at the same time, you listen to what Ty said, they're prepared.
You got to be.
He's not questioning that.
They're ready for Oxford.
They're ready, and
they will be.
And I think a lot of the confidence is high, and I think the way that's how any team should be going into the beginning of the football season. So
I think all these teams think they can win it, Zach, and I think all of them. We don't know about Grosse Pointe South a ton as how they'll fare. We know the crossovers weren't great for them last year, but Zach, I think everybody in this league thinks for the first time in a couple years that they can win.
I think the field's wide open. The hardest thing we could do right now is probably start doing our power rankings, which we should do. That's going to come. We got to do that.
We will.
But that would be very hard because all of these teams have changed. You have a Stevenson team that is more mature this year, and they finished on a great note last season.
God.
You have Chippewa Valley.
People forget about Chip. They've won 10 conference games in a row.
And they got bounced early in the playoffs last year and basically spoiled their run.
By a Dakota team that's better this year than they were last year.
They've also had a few key players that are no longer on the team. So I think, all teams are going to be trying to figure out
Eisenhower, who had a pretty good. They won one or two playoff games.
Their defense was the best in the MAC Red.
Chef's kiss.
So we are looking at a probably one of the most entertaining seasons just from a shakeup side.
Yeah, you thought last year was fun. Come back for this year.
So any team can get it, and that's what we hear. We hear so much of this. Well, will they or won't they play? What are the fans going to look like? What's the season itself going to look like? And these guys just want to play football.
Yeah, they're not worried about the rest of it.
We're talking about that stuff, but that's not what they're talking about in the locker room. That's not what's fueling their drive. For them, it's business as usual, as it should be.
Absolutely. And again, it's I think for kids especially, but I think this is true for anybody. We talked about this, controlling what you can and letting the rest of it not slide, but you can't focus, you can't dwell. And I think that we've heard that from coaches across, and now we're hearing it from players too. We'll continue to follow this. Zach said it. We're theoretically 3 weeks out from the start of football season, though it seems like we're probably at least 4 weeks away from any real football being played, but we'll keep our eye on that as usual. You can find us at 32andmain.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. And, of course, wherever you get your podcasts, we can be found there for an audio version and always on YouTube as well.